Okay. All the ladies cross their little white hands and get their black and tan. All the ladies bow to just know how when you circle forward swing. First 1980, Jack Hodge just sang.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Human Art Project. My name is Angie, and I'm your very real human artist. Today I'm taking you back to La Belle Province to do yet another scrapyard creature with my dad. If you watched my first welding video, you'll recognize Maximus Lockjaw, our first creative collaboration. The time has come to craft poor lonely Maximus a much needed companion. Here I am, all suited up and rocking my new welding mask. Yup, I'm all fangs out and ready to hang out with my dad. This time around, I'm bringing my boyfriend with me, who is also an artist. I wanted him to help me choose parts for our critter, as he may see something in the scrap metal that I would have otherwise missed. It's always helpful to get a new perspective. Those are his feet, by the way. I respected his wishes of being mostly off camera. Here we are scouring the wheelbarrow of junk, looking for some neat body parts. Once we found a nice assortment, we separated them into a red bin to use in our project.
I think they're buggy wrenches.
100-year-old buggy wrenches.
Oh, when you stop making buggy.
Yeah.
1940s?
Yeah. I might use them for something. We've grabbed this timing chain, which my dad said was off of an old tractor. A rule of thumb is if it's magnetic, it can be welded. Okay, so here's our plan. So we have these horseshoes, and this horseshoe, my dad said, was used for horses to walk on ice. So that's when there's a spike. But my boyfriend Joe and I were just discussing, it'd be cool to do a little squat creature that almost looks like a turtle that has a shell. So we're thinking that on the back, and that would be the little tail. And then somehow do this one, so it's almost like a shell. And then we have this really cool wrench, and this will be the head. So it can attach here. And then we have this little, what is it, timing chain?
Timing chain.
So I think after we do this, we're going to try to cut it and put it across, lengthwise,
Right.
so it almost looks like a shell.
Right.
Good?
Let's put this together first.
Yes, and then we'll continue? Okay, sounds good. So first things first, I suggested buffing the horseshoes a bit so they'd weld easier. Let's take a walk! This ended up not being necessary, but my dad never says no to using fun, grindy power tools. Nice and shiny? Good stuff.
That's okay.
Yeah, okay. We position the first horseshoe over the base, which is, I believe, a clamp for removing beehive frames. The horseshoe welds really easily to the clamp, as you can't clearly see because all of the action is being obscured by the hammers in the foreground. Hey man, if you want quality cinema, look elsewhere. This is real life, and real life is dumb. With a few simple welds, our creature is already taking shape. Next, we start to weld on the second horseshoe. Ah yes, look at the determined look on my face. The concentration and intensity is palpable. With a little guidance from Papa Smurf, that's right, my nickname for my dad is Papa Smurf. The fact that he's actually kinda dressed like a Smurf is purely coincidental. What was I saying? Right, so with a little guidance from dear old dad, I managed to weld the second horseshoe onto the base. After that, we start discussing attaching that cool wrench to the base to form the creature's neck and head. I want the neck to be angled so it's looking to the side, thus giving it an animated feel. The open part of the wrench almost fits precisely over the body and just requires a little grinding to get it to fit. He works diligently to grind the metal just enough so the wrench will clamp on.
Yes, maybe a little shot more.
Yeah. This again proves pretty pointless as I change my mind and want the neck a little lower. Attached by a secondary opening on the wrench, which is a little larger and did not require grinding to get it to fit. Oh well, live and learn I guess. So that fits well straight on. Oh, yeah. Maybe just bang it on. Look at him go. Yeah. I soon realized afterwards that I don't like the positioning and I change it. But hey, that's all part of the artistic process. Taking shape. Super hot.
Okay.
Smoking. That's why you work with a fan. Now we're focusing on attaching the timing chain to the body to form the shell. My dad clamps the chain and proceeds to decouple it. We then measure the length of our creature and discover that if we cut the chain into 3 equal pieces, they'll fit perfectly across its body. How crazy is that? We use a vice grip to clamp the chain on, and then proceed to secure it to the base. This next part proves to be a little tricky. We're trying to stretch the chain across and make sure it's taut, but it's barely long enough and keeps slipping off. My dad tries to secure it on with a piece of wire, which he wraps around the neck. The wire is too thin and breaks, so he returns with a thicker wire.
Well, the wire broke.
I think we're going to do it the way I suggested. Use gravity. I suggest turning the creature up on its end to allow the chain to fall against the side. That way it can be safely welded without physically needing to hold it down.
Not bad.
Science! Use gravity! This works perfectly because science, I guess. And now we just have to weld the other 2 chains into place on either side. We've noticed, however, the center chain is slightly higher as it attaches to the back of the neck, and the other 2 need a little bar beneath them to lift them up to the same level as the middle chain, so that they're all level. Following along? Great! My dad proceeds to cut a bar short enough with an appropriate diameter that will slide beneath the chains, securing them into place and making all 3 chains level across the top. He uses his trusty Sparky cutty machine, which does the trick. Time for a dance break. Unce, unce, unce. Anywho, we weld the bar and then weld the chains to the top, and just like that, our critter is looking tight. Those chains are going nowhere. This is where I noticed that our wee fella is a little wobbly. There's one leg that's a little longer and needs some adjusting. We discuss a few options like welding something on one of the other feet to counterbalance it, but decide the best option is to grind down the offending leg. A little grind later, it's sturdy, purty, and this is getting wordy, but yeah, you get the point. Next, my dad has the brilliant idea of adding some crazy sharp-looking shears to either side to form wings, because this sturdy purdy is going to be a birdie. See what I did there? I hold one of the blades against the side, getting my face and hands dangerously close to the blue hot welding rod. FYI, don't do this unless you trust the person wielding the welder. And wear appropriate safety gear like thick leather gloves and a green mask with a toothy grin. Safety first, people. Then I remembered the buggy wrenches and realized they'd be perfect to add more animation to the wings. I try them in a few positions, find a configuration I like, and then hold them as my dad welds them into place. I grabbed this crazy looking spiky dealie, which I've lovingly dubbed the hillbilly throwing star, and position it behind the head. I think it'll make an awesome frill or plumage, whatever you want to call it. My dad grinds the sharp edges off so it's not quite as stabby, and then we weld that into place as well. Ooh, she's looking cute. Yeah, I've decided she's a beautiful lady. Bird. Turtle thing. My dad, however, thinks it looks like a dragon. Long lost township dragon?
Yeah, that flew.
That flew?
And then his body got too heavy and it had to walk. Henchmen in to make go. And they called him Nymphy.
Nymphy the lake monster. I don't think this guy could swim. He evolved to lose his wings.
Yeah.
Check out my amazing framing. I finally took down those flipping hammers. Yes! We do another fit check and decide she needs another element. Just wanted to show this thing. My dad said it was for picking up a 12-volt battery. So like, you adjust it like this, and then clamp it, and you pick it up. It's kind of diabolical looking. After a little puttering about, we decide on an old pair of scissors. Pops grinds off the pin, holding it together so we have two equal parts. Our plan is to attach a piece to either side to yet again add more height and motion to the wings. I wish I could show you this next part as it's perfectly in focus and framed, but in a sudden twist of irony, my camera unceremoniously dies. All right. Action! Here's our new critter! Well, we need a name, Dad. What do you think? Ebenezer McScraunchy Butts. I don't know. We'll have to come up with something good. He's pretty cool. My camera died, but what we didn't show was we welded on the pieces of an old scissor on either side. Where are you going? Where are you going? And there he is. Alright, Dad, another one down. Good job. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. I hope you enjoyed the process of how to weld a scrap metal creature. If you have a clever name for our creation, please drop it below in the comments. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, take care and go make something cool.